Good morning. It is Wednesday, February 28th. Here's what we're working on. A meeting of Hamilton City Council today could decide if a parking lot in Stony Creek gives way to 2 affordable housing builds.
The winners have been announced for this year's Hamilton Soup Fest.
And Only Murders in the Building continues to assemble an all-star cast for season 4.
Look at this video we're using.
Yeah, Only Murders in the Building is doing a time travel episode where they're going back to SCTV.
Well, when in doubt, just grab some video from SCTV because it's going to be fun.
Because it's going to be fun.
No, it wasn't a fun drive in though. Oh man.
Wow.
Yeah, really raining. Some areas getting some really heavy downpours with the thunderstorms that have been rumbling.
And ponding and lightning and then there's going to be snow. What else could we have today?
Well, we can throw in a lot of wind. A lot of wind. The winds are going to be strong, gusting 70, possibly as high as 80 kilometers an hour, and that wind is going to shift to the west and bring in some much colder air. So it's going to be a sharp cold front going through later on today. So we'll climb to, well, I mean, we're sitting at 11 right now. We'll climb to 13 degrees this morning, and then the temperature falls. We could hit, well, -3 by late this afternoon into the early evening, but a wind chill of -11 degrees later on this afternoon as that wind stays strong. So with the rain this morning, possible thunderstorms, but they should come to an end. And then that is going to cycle into some ice pellets and some flurry activity later. Some areas could get a couple of centimeters of snow. So it's going to be a really wild, interesting day. I mean, as I said, we're sitting at 11 degrees right now. What a mild start, but a cold end later on. We'll talk about it in detail coming up. Looking at traffic. There's the 403 coming down the Ancaster Hill. That looks pretty good at the moment. Roads are wet, as Annette mentioned, pooling, ponding. We've had some heavy rain throughout the overnight. Go to a few MTO traffic cameras and see if there's any volume at all. Looking at some of our cameras here, Centennial Parkway is doing okay so far. Top of the Burlington Skyway Bridge, rain still coming down. No problems on the roads as far as traffic is concerned. Just the wet roads to contend with. Umbrellas up and off we go into this Wednesday morning. We'll give you details, weather and traffic coming up right now. The news.
Okay, thanks very much. Well, a 36-year-old man may have life-altering injuries after a crash in rural Ancaster. Hamilton police say a car and an SUV collided on Butter Road near Trinity Road just before 5 yesterday afternoon. It is unclear if the other driver, a 34-year-old man, sustained serious injuries. Police say the collision reconstruction unit was on scene investigating because of how bad the injuries to the first man were. No charges have been laid. Hamilton police are asking witnesses or anyone who has video of the area before, during, or after to reach out.
Halton police have arrested a man in connection with an alleged sexual assault on a GO Transit bus. Police say a man exposed himself and inappropriately touched himself while making contact with a female passenger. 26-year-old Cameron Henry, of no fixed address, is charged with sexual assault and failing to comply with a probation order. The alleged incident happened on board a GO bus heading west through the city of Burlington at around 12:45 yesterday afternoon. So police believe there could be more victims in other jurisdictions.
It could be Friday before a large water main break in Stony Creek is repaired. Water rushed in at Barton Street and Grays Road early yesterday, prompting the road closure. Nearby businesses were also affected because of diverted traffic.
Slow, it's affected. We can see that people can pass and they can't come to the store from Grace Road, so they have to go all the way around and then come to this store. So it's okay, but if there is a problem, they have to get it fixed, right?
And a water main break at McMaster University yesterday afternoon shut down the water supply to several buildings on campus, including the Student Center. Food services in those buildings were also closed. There's been no update this morning on the university's social media.
So the city of Hamilton says it's just too early to tell what type of information has been accessed through a cybersecurity breach. Started impacting online city services back on Sunday. The incident is affecting IT systems, scheduling apps, and online updates for HSR buses, online library services, and staff communication. It's also canceled meetings. The city says cybersecurity experts, lawyers, and insurers, they are all involved.
The city says that there are critical systems that are operational. But it also says that staff is having to process routine transactions by hand. It isn't really clear whether these systems are offline because of the cyber attack or whether systems have been taken offline by the city as a precaution.
That's cybersecurity expert Howard Solomon. Now, Hamilton's city manager says they're still trying to identify all services that have been affected.
The future of 2 affordable housing proposals in Stoney Creek is expected to be decided this morning. They are set to be built on what's currently a free parking lot in downtown Stoney Creek. At a committee meeting last week, councillors were split on keeping the parking lot or using part of it to build 67 housing units. Mayor Andrea Horvath hasn't said if she will use her strong mayor powers in this morning's vote. The parking lot is used for area businesses, a Legion, a medical center, and a church.
From the church's perspective, we're in favor of the affordable housing because there's a huge need. But we are concerned about the restrictions that the parking lot development could have for this general area.
Now, one Hamilton councillor, John Paladanko, suggests at least switching the free parking to a paid service to help fund housing. The federal government says $123 million in previously announced money for affordable housing will go directly to home builders.
The single biggest thing in families' budgets is paying your mortgage or paying the rent. And we know that the solution there is we just have to build more faster.
It's Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland. She says the money will go to 8 home builders to help build more than 5,000 affordable homes. The statement says the money will be used to develop, test, and streamline the next generation of home building techniques. That includes prefab and modular housing. Housing Minister Sean Fraser adds the program is expected to get 5,000 affordable homes built, but it's unclear how that number was reached. Well, the winners are in from Soup Fest. Everybody's a winner, really. The Soup Fest judges chose a roasted fennel and carrot soup from the Royal Botanical Gardens Rock Garden Cafe as their top pick. The best soup judged by the public was the coconut potato soup from Mai Tai. But the real winners from yesterday's fundraiser at the Hamilton Convention Center were the kids and teens supported by Living Rock Ministries.
Every bowl of soup sold goes directly to Living Rock and the work that we do. So providing a number of different programs, we're really trying to seek to provide a home for people, right? So we have to raise money for things like utilities, hydro, warm showers.
And for the first time in the event's 22-year history, Living Rock offered its own soup. That's not it there, but it was a spicy Thai chili peanut made by the youth that Living Rock supports.
Did you make it down?
No, I didn't. This is the first year I've missed it.
I like the sounds of that Thai soup. A little spice to it.
There was one that was a fried chicken soup that I was like, ooh.
Producer Tansy, what was your favorite? The Thai coconut was Producer Tansy's.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I would like that one too. Goodness. Okay, good stuff there. Let's get into sports line, shall we? Maple Leafs back on home ice, trying to do something they haven't done in over 20 years. That is win 8 games in a row. The champs from Vegas were in town looking for revenge as they beat Toronto. As Toronto actually beat them 7-3 just last Thursday.
Final minute now, the second period. Vegas a 2-1 lead. Leonard pass, Carlson, shot, scores!
And they would get that retribution. That goal by William Karlsson. That's kind of the heartbreaker. Right before the end of the second and just after the Leafs had pulled to within a goal, it would turn out to be the game winner. The Leafs, they do make a game of it in the third period with tough guy Ryan Reeves scoring against his former squad right there. Nice goal. Austin Matthews kept off the score sheet for a second straight game, so he still sits at 52 goals on the year. Leafs coach Sheldon Keefe not too happy, though, with a late penalty call. This one right here, the kind of phantom call against Mitch Marner. He was actually ousted from the game. Leafs lose their first game in 7. 6-2 the final. Arizona in town tomorrow.
LaRocque moving in. Nurse calling for it. One time, muffled shot, they score! Sarah Nurse!
Yeah, to the ice in Minnesota, where that other Toronto hockey team kept their win aways going, thanks to Hamilton's Sarah Nurse, who scored 2 goals, including the OT winner in the PWHL, beating Minnesota 4-3 for their 6th straight win. So they move to within a point of Minnesota for 2nd spot in the league. They also have a game in hand. First 2-goal game for Nurse in the PWHL. And not the only Hamiltonian, doing some great things last night.
He will be the trigger man with 53 seconds to go in the third. Gilgeous-Alexander fires and hits. Always at his pace.
Come on, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander being his usual fantastic self as his OKC Thunder were facing the Rockets from Houston for a 2nd straight game. After beating them on Sunday, they brought the Thunder again thanks to who else? SGA, who was bang on his average, 31 points of the night, 43rd time that he scored over 30 this season. OKC wins at 112-95, stay tied for top spot in the West. However, not the craziest game from the NBA last night.
Puts it in. 2 seconds left. The Cavs are out of timeouts. They have to go 94 feet. Strus from midcourt. Do you believe
more of these?
Right? These half-court shots, because they're practicing them. That's Max Strus of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Tosses up a prayer from beyond half-court at the buzzer to propel his Cavs to a thrilling 112-119 win over Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks in a Play of the Year candidate. He hits the 45-foot shot in front of the home fans. They explode with excitement. Heartbreak for the Mavs. They're going to be in Toronto tonight to face the Raps. It might be a little sour. Okay, we finished in spring training where it wasn't an ideal debut to the spring for the Blue Jays' Alek Manoah, coming off a disastrous season last year. He came into camp slim and trim and ready to fight for a spot in the starting rotation that is, after being ousted last season. He struggled against Detroit, allowing 4 runs on 3 hits, including a couple doubles, and he hit 3 batters in just 2 innings of work. Tigers beat the Jays 6-4. Good news, it's only the spring. Doesn't count.
Shake it off.
Yeah. Week concerning. Jays host Tampa today in Dunedin. And we finish with Shohei Ohtani. I promise we will not show every time he hits a home run, because that would be too soul-crushing for us Jays fans. But he's really good at baseball. And in his spring debut with the Dodgers, he hit a home run for the Dodgers as they knock off the Chicago White Sox. 9-6.
Okay, 12 minutes after 6 o'clock. It is Wednesday, the 28th of February. Not the last day of February. Remember, tomorrow, leap day. So we'll look at the forecast for today and tomorrow coming up. First of all, looking at traffic. That is the 403 coming down the Ancaster Hill towards us. You can see we have wet roads this morning. It has been rain. You might have heard some of the heavy downpours and thunderstorms we had throughout the overnight. So there could be a lot of puddles this morning. Be really careful. To our MTO traffic cameras, I want to check into St. Catharines. Here's the Garden City Skyway. Up and over the top. Looks good. Both directions. Spray coming off the tires, as you can see here. Still getting some rain. Centennial Parkway, no change there. Looks good. Fairview Street through Burlington into Oakville at the Ford plant, all the way through Etobicoke Creek. Yes, we are getting some rain right now. Some of the thunderstorms, the heavier thunderstorms that we have had, are pushing off towards the east right now. Look at our temperature to start this morning in late February, plus 11 degrees. We have that southeast breeze, and that's helping to keep the temperatures mild. Humidity right up there at 100%. What we have right now is just some light rain shower activity. So for school today, we are going to see rain, and then as the temperature drops significantly and quite quickly later on, we're going to get some flurries. Some areas could get a couple of centimeters by later on, but colder. We'll go from 13 the high to -3 with a wind chill of -11 later on, and some areas could get a couple of centimeters of flurries. Here's a look at the thunderstorms that we have had rumble through over the past 6 hours. You can see that line of precipitation and thunderstorms all the way up into parts of central Ontario, across Manitoulin Island. Low pressure system is going to drag that cold front across us later on today, probably midday, and then the temperatures start to fall, and they will fall, and the winds will pick up. They'll shift around to the northwest and become cold, and they could be 50, gusting to 70, possibly as high as 80 kilometers an hour later on today. So maybe 2 centimeters as that temperature drops from these values, 12 and 13 degrees, 11 for for parts of Peel, but then it's going to hit -3 by later on, so that rain will cycle over into some flurries. Tonight, flurries, and it's going to be cold. -5 to -6, wind chill of -15 overnight. So yeah, a cold night with flurries. And then tomorrow, temperatures only sit at +1 to -1 to 0, so -3 for Guelph and Kitchener. A little bit of sunshine later in the day after some flurries to start the day. So 28th of February, out the door this morning. We are getting some light rain right now, and it's mild, 11 degrees. Long range coming up. Annette, Tim.
Okay, coming up right after the break, Canada's immigration minister says if provinces aren't going to crack down on international student issues, then the federal government is going to step in and do it for them. It is 6:17 on your Wednesday morning. Canadian dollar is down more than a quarter of a point, or a quarter of a cent this morning, down to 73.64 cents U.S. Gold is down almost $8. Crude oil is down 87 cents to $78. In midday trading in Europe, markets are down in London, up in Frankfurt, and not really much change in Paris because it's closed.
How about we go to Asia? Markets are down in Tokyo, Hong Kong, and Shanghai. North American markets finished the trading day on Tuesday. Nothing too substantial. Slight losses on Bay Street, some losses for the Dow Jones, gains for NASDAQ. Let's see how they do on this second last day of February when markets open a little bit later this morning.
Immigration Minister Mark Miller says if the provinces don't shut down schools that are abusing the international student program, then the federal government will.
The Conestogas, the Senecas of the world, they have some of the highest asylum claims in Canada. They're in the top 10, 800 last year. That is totally unacceptable. That spike is alarming, and that spike exists in the public schools as well. They have some work to do in terms of the quality of the education that they provide to these people and the people that they engage to recruit people abroad. So there's responsibility to go around, Catherine. I just think that some of the really, really bad actors are in the private sphere, and those need to be shut down. But there is responsibility across the board, and we're willing to assume it. We just need the provinces in question, in this case Ontario, to assume their responsibility.
The federal government put a cap on new study permits for international students for 2 years after a big spike in foreign student enrollment. More than 900,000 foreign students had visas to study in Canada last year. That's more than 3 times higher than the numbers a decade ago. Colleges say they're doing what they were told to do, bringing in more students to help Canada's labour market.
Let's stay with the universities, but go to Waterloo because they're removing more than 24 vending machines after students raised concerns over facial recognition technology. 17 days ago, a student posted to Reddit after one of the machines displayed an error message about its facial recognition app. So that post led to several media reports, and the school now pulling 29 machines. The school says they had recently been installed across campus and that they didn't know about the software. The Swedish company Invenda is behind these machines. They say the tech is mainly used to tell when a person is standing in front of the machine, and it doesn't store photos or data.
First Nation in British Columbia is suing the federal government for banning one of its commercial fisheries in 2022. The Hailsick Nation claims the fisheries minister's decision to close the harvesting of the herring spawn on kelp in their territory is an infringement of Aboriginal rights. In a lawsuit filed against the Attorney General of Canada, the nation claims it developed joint management plans for harvests with staff from the Fisheries Department for several years before the ban was put in place.
Stats Canada says the number of Canadians receiving employment insurance, that rose drastically last year in 2023. In the province with one of the highest increases in EI support is Ontario. Recipients here, that increased by 32%. They're less than half that on average in the rest of the country. Now across Canada, EI recipients, it rose 14.8% last year. One of the reasons for the increase, it is higher interest rates. StatsCan says population growth driven by immigration also helped drive that number up.
Okay, we're taking a break right now. Brian is back with your traffic and the 7-day forecast. You're going to want to be prepared for a little bit of everything in the next few hours.
Bring everything in the closet.
Everything.
Be covered, including your pink shirt.
Good morning, 26 minutes after 6. Pardon me, 24 minutes after 6. Yeah, they're right. Got the numbers flip-flop there. So it's the 28th morning of February. I do know that. Here's a look at some MTO traffic cameras. Garden City Skyway. It's wet roads to contend with this morning. Could be some pooling. Lots of puddles out there. Be careful. No problems with traffic at the Skyway Bridge. Still looks fine. Burloak through Burlington to Oakville to Lorne Park in Mississauga. Even the 403 at Burnham Thorpe. Just lots of... It's light rain at the moment. It is tapered off. Thunderstorms are moving away now. All right, let's talk about our temperatures right now. Special weather statement in effect for the Horseshoe, talking about the falling temperatures for later on this afternoon. So don't be fooled by these mild temperatures right now. 11 for Hamilton, 10 Grimsby, Mississauga, 9 for Toronto. So seasonals, +1 for the daytime high, -7 for the overnight low. Those are our sun times and records for today. And yeah, we are looking at some rain and then some snow flurry activity later on, because we'll climb to 13 by the first bell. Maybe a little bit of sunshine, but we're not looking for an awful lot, but still chance of a thunderstorm. Most of them are moving away, and then 0 for after school with some flurries. Now that flurry activity, we could get a couple of centimeters of that today as the winds shift to the northwest and become really strong. They could gust 70 to 80 kilometers an hour, but we'll climb to 13 and then dip to -3 with a wind chill of -11 late this afternoon. -5 tonight, wind chill -15, a cold night, cold start to the morning. Tomorrow only 0, so below seasonal for the day tomorrow with some flurries, and then a pretty nice day as we get into March on Friday, sunny and 5, milder but fairly cloudy for the weekend. That's your forecast. Annette, Tim.
Okay, settle back because we're in for a little grammar lesson.
Yeah.
One that we had to brush up on ourselves. Merriam-Webster's is selling a debate that has raged for centuries among English grammar experts.
The dictionary has affirmed once and for all that it's okay to end a sentence with a preposition. So some writers have long struggled with the idea of wrapping up a thought using words like to, or of, or from, as Merriam-Webster explained. So the debate, it began with writers who tried to align English with Latin. That's a Romance language, if you didn't know. But as the dictionary experts pointed out, English, it's not a Romance language. So ending a sentence with the word with is perfectly fine.
And then I had to go and look, what is a preposition again? So and then I catch you doing the same thing. So it is a word that shows direction, location, or time.
Yeah, and it's like it's connecting a noun and a verb. So like another example, the little boy took his keys and hid them under. So under would be the preposition that you can end with.
So do you? Yeah, I think that I do end sentences with them sometimes.
Do you?
Yeah. But it's okay now. Merriam-Webster says
there you go.
It's okay.
We thought we were in the wrong all this time. No.
Yeah. There we go.
Though little words they are, they never stand alone.
See you in a couple minutes.
Gathering words behind